Good afternoon, I'm still reporting on politics. So we arrived at the event at Pawleys Island, South Carolina, 2 hours ahead of the scheduled start time. My wife had hurt her foot the night before, so I dropped her off at the back of the line and parked the car. I found out from a cop that the venue for the event was a large meeting room at a beautiful southern golf club, the Pawleys Plantation Conference Center. So I walked to the back of the line thinking, wow, there aren't many people here.
Turn the gun, we having fun on the bow. We do behind the croquet by the filet gumbo. First night I'm gonna see Mom tell me.
Might as well grab him, ladies and gentlemen. I only have a few hats left. He has his Sharpie out and bombed his...
There were only 200 or 300 people in front of us in line. So I asked another cop where the hall was, and he said, this is it. He said it only holds 500 people, and that's with them packed in. I figured we were going into a large hall, 10,000 people at least. I mean, this was the last day before the primary voting. I had only brought my small video camera and left the small tripod that goes with it in the car until I checked out the room. We waited in line for about 90 minutes, but it went really fast. Everyone was laughing and joking, introducing themselves and offering opinions on the race and the candidates. Before I knew it, we were inside the door and were met by two big Secret Service guys fully decked out with bulletproof vests. And suddenly we were transported into airport security time. Everything was searched, and we walked through a metal detector. Then we were in the room, a charming Southern conference room like where the Kiwanis Club would hold its annual awards dinner dance, like about 80 by 120 feet. To my surprise, there was no stage, no lectern, just a hollowed-out space in the middle of the room. Wow, if that's where Mr. Trump is going to speak, we're going to be really close because we were only 7 rows back. Before we knew it, the rally started exactly on time, and suddenly there he was, Donald Trump, like in our living room.
Great to be with you. Wow. Thank you very much. Do you know how many people are outside? Do you know what's going on out there? You know how lucky you are. You're lucky you're not there, but boy, are you lucky anyway. Here. Oh, you're the club champion. Congratulations. I'm a club champion. I'm a many times club champion. Would anybody believe that? So, yeah, there's a tremendous crowd of people outside. Unbelievable, and it's great to be with you all. We're going to do something. See that hat, Make America Great Again? That's what we're going to do. We're going to make America great again. And I just want to thank you. This is a beautiful part of the world, by the way. This is a beautiful club, too. How many people are members here? A lot of you? Yeah, it's beautiful. I like it. Maybe we should buy it. I don't know. The course looks fantastic. So I thought we'd go, maybe we'll do a few question and answer. We'll do a little bit of talking. You've heard a lot of what I have to say, but you know, it started this way. Yeah, sit down. You have seats? Yes. Thank you.
He talked casually, no tension, no notes, very presidential, just walked around this little pit in the center of the room with a wireless mic. Really unbelievable. Unfortunately, there was no way I was going to go back outside and get the tripod, so I just shot by hand from my seat. It's not perfect, but it sure is a different view of Donald Trump. I'm still reporting from Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Good day.
So, we're going to have strong borders. We're going to have really strong borders. We're going to build a wall. We're going to build that wall. It's going to go up. That's it. It's very simple to build. 1,000 miles. The Great Wall of China is 13,000 miles. I think we can handle 1,000, right? We need 1,000. We have it's 2,000 miles, but we have a lot of natural barriers, which are fine. But we're going to build a wall, and it's going to be a real wall. It's going to be a real wall. And people can come into the country, but they're going to come in legally. They have to go through a process. And they're going to come in. So we're going to do the various things. And you know, this all started when on June 16th I came down. My wife actually said, you know, darling, if you run, you're going to win. That's good that you have a wife who was telling you. And if you don't announce, you're never going to win because nobody's ever going to take polls of you and you're never going to. And I said, yeah, but I want to take polls before I run. I don't want to like announce and then it doesn't work out. She said, don't worry about it. You announce, you're going to win. So it was sort of interesting. So they didn't want a poll. And I announced, and literally from the beginning, once they found out I was willing to do it. Because it takes courage, it takes guts to run for president. This is not an easy thing. In many respects, I don't care about the money, but you know, to self-fund, I never knew if I got the credit because, you know, I'm the only one that's self-funding. I'm the only one I'm putting up my own money, and I'm in now for probably $25 million or close. And you know, it's always a lot of money. Now, it's a fraction compared to what these guys are in because they're politicians. They have no idea how to spend money. Sort of interesting. In New Hampshire, I spent $3 million. Bush spent $44 million. I came in first in a landslide, and he was down at the bottom of the pack. Now, who do you want as your president? I spent like, I think, less than anybody else, and we got the best result. Now, wouldn't it be nice if our country could say that we spent less than other countries and we had the best result? Yeah. Education, we're #1 for spending per pupil by a factor that's so much higher you wouldn't even believe it. By the way, we're getting rid of Common Core, we're going to go local. But we spent so much. Second doesn't even exist, second place per pupil. So we're #1 in spending. You have China, Sweden, Norway, lots of places, Denmark, all these countries, great educational systems. They spend far less than us per pupil. And we're number 30th on a list of 30. We're 30 in education. So we're the worst, and yet we spend the most. That's not what we want. So we're going to get things like that changed around. Well, the waste is so incredible. For instance, if we bid out drugs, we're not allowed to bid out drugs. If we bid out drugs, we're going to save $300 billion a year. You can think of it. $300 billion. I mean, who would think you don't bid out drugs? Now, the reason is you don't bid them out because the drug companies are all funding these people. Not only them, but all the Senate and the congressmen and everything else. Free trade is great. I'm for free trade, but I'm also for smart trade, and I'm for trade like self-preservation. When these companies move to Mexico and then they make air conditioners, they put them across our border, no tax, no nothing. We lose the jobs, we lose the factories, we lose the money. What do we get out of it? We get nothing. So they're moving to Mexico. So I would say there's only one way to stop it. And I went to Wharton and I was a good student and all that stuff, but you don't have to. You don't have to go to high school to know this. You say very simply, enjoy your stay in Mexico. But every time you ship an air conditioner across that line, you're paying a 35% tax, folks. I'm sorry. And they're not going to leave. They're not leaving. They're not going to leave. Ford is building a $2.5 billion plant. You know how big that is? One-story building, $2.5 billion. That's serious money, right? That's a big plant. Now, I've been talking about it for a year and a half. I think it's terrible. So they'll close up places in Michigan and all over, and they're building $2.5 billion. Now, yesterday I read in the papers that they're doubling down. They're going to go much bigger now. Now they've decided they're going to go and build even bigger. And I say, that's fine. But you know what? They're closing up all those places. We're losing American jobs. You're going to pay a tax. You're going to send those cars across the border. They have the illegals drive them right across the border. Nobody checks. Because, you know, under Obama, it's like Swiss cheese, right? So they hop in a Ford car, they drive it across the border, they come back, you know, back and forth, no charge, don't worry about it. Let the dumb Americans pay. Dumb Americans with their really dumb leadership, let them pay. And we're not going to be called dumb anymore. We're going to become the smart guys. We're going to be the smart guys. And I'm tired of it. I see these things. I see this Iran deal where we give them $150 billion. We get nothing. I mean, this was negotiated by people that are incompetent. And we get nothing. So these things, Sergeant Bergdahl, okay? We get Sergeant Bergdahl, a dirty, rotten traitor. Right? You see, 6 people killed looking for him. He left. He thought it was going to be a wonderful life. He'll go with ISIS or whoever he was looking to go with. He found it wasn't so good out there, right? They roughed him up a little bit, didn't they? I'd drop him right back in the middle of where the hell we found him. You know, when I saw his parents, I saw his father, and I said, whoa, whoa, what have we here? Right? I said, what have we here? That didn't look like Duck Dynasty, that was the shade different. I said, whoa, what's going on with the father here? And that was the first clue I had. What do I know, right? What do I know? But we get Virgil, and they get 5 of the best killers that they've been after for 9 years that they coveted. And those guys are now back in the battlefield, or soon will be. And they're looking to kill everybody, including you and us. And we get a traitor. And in Iowa, we had a great time, but we had a guy who cheated. I mean, you know, this guy Cruz cheated. Really cheated. What he did to Ben Carson was a disgrace, okay? He cheated. Somebody just came up, you actually won Iowa. And if the Republican Party had any guts, they would have terminated Cruz from that election, because honestly, he cheated like a dog. Yeah. You know, he holds up the Bible and then he cheats. And what he did with Carson was a disgrace, where he said Carson had left the race. He's gone, he left the race. Then he calls up Carson 10 minutes after the election ends. And he says, oh, we want to apologize. A lot of good it does, right? And then he does a voter violation certificate. I have to tell you, and then he lies so much, but these politicians are bad. These are bad. These are dishonest people. Man. I deal with business people. You know, business people are like honest people compared to these politicians. But I was given some cover. I could talk about it because Rubio, during the debate, said, you're a liar. I've never heard a politician call another politician a liar. But Rubio did, so once he did, I said, you're a liar, because, man, he misrepresents, I'm the biggest guy on Second Amendment. And he said, Donald Trump does not believe in the Second Amendment. I said, it's exactly the opposite. And if you don't have a big voice, you can't fight it. And maybe they'll apologize when the election's over. But I don't want to apologize when it's over. I want to apologize before you get in the booth. Now, illegal immigrants who are criminals, convicted criminals, all over our country. What kind of a country is that? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're out. We get them out. We're not putting them in our jails. What do you think? They send them, and don't keep yourself. You remember what I said. They send them over here because they don't want to put them in the jails. It's expensive to put them in jails. Millions and millions and millions of dollars for a few people. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're getting them out of here. We're getting them out so fast. Before the wall goes up, we're getting them out of here. And our local police who are fantastic. The sheriff is here. Where's the sheriff? Where is the sheriff? What a great sheriff he is. My man. He just said, I love you, Mr. Trump, and you can say that I love you, right, Sheriff? He's with me. But I think I have all of the police. Thank you, Sheriff. And I hear, does he do a great job? Yeah. I want your popularity. I know I would. Thank you, Sheriff. That was a very nice statement. I appreciate it. But I'm a big fan of the police. And I think the police in this country have not been treated properly. Amen. You know, you'll see one event, whether it's a mistake or you have a rogue, you have a rogue problem, and it ends up being the biggest story for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they don't see the 99.99% of the great work that these people do. So, I have endorsements from everybody. The police, and without the police, we're not here. We don't feel safe. They're so important, and they've been treated unbelievably, I think, shabbily. So we're going to get that stopped. But we love our police, and without them, it would be a much different country, that I can tell you. So, Sheriff, thank you. Thank all your men behind you. Thank you. So with that, I think what we'll do is we'll take some questions. I just want to say that, so we started in June. It was trade, it was borders, it was a couple of things. Then we had the problem, the big problem, as you remember, in Paris, where 160 people were killed, 130 people were killed, many in the hospital right now. Will never be the same. Just brutally, I mean, many of them are going to die, actually, but really badly hurt. And when we talk about Second Amendment, if we had guns on the other side, there's a country that's the toughest gun laws in the world. Paris is the toughest in the world. Nobody has guns except the bad guys, okay? The bad guys have guns because they got guns. But a gun, that's it. And if we had in Paris, or if we had in California, where you had the 14 to 2 radicalized people, where she radicalized him, who knows what happened. But they killed people, they gave them parties for their baby, and gave them wedding parties. They walked in, they killed 14 of them, and others also in the hospital, horribly hurt. If we had guns on the other side of those lines, so that bullets could go the other direction also, You wouldn't have 14 people killed, you wouldn't have had 130 people killed, that I can tell you. Would have been a whole different story. So we have to protect our Second Amendment, folks. We have to protect it, and you know, people are really fighting it. And we have to protect a lot of our great institutions and a lot of our great things. But I tell the story all the time. I mean, if there were guns on the other side going in the other direction, it would have been a whole different story. So that's that. But let's take some questions, and go ahead, sir.
With the large number of baby boomers retiring nowadays, how do you offset that and create more jobs for the young people?
We have to take jobs back from China, from Vietnam, from Mexico, from all of these countries that are just shipping us. I mean, from India. India is massive. We have to take jobs back from all of these countries. We have to take back. We can't let it go. We're being stripped. China has, in my opinion, done the greatest theft in the history of the world when they've taken. They've taken our money, our jobs, millions and millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of plants and factories closed. And we've rebuilt China. We're going to bring them back. We're going to bring them back. And I'm saying, I want Apple. First of all, Apple ought to give the security for that phone. Okay? What I think you ought to do is boycott Apple until such time as they give that security. How do you like that? Boycott Apple. Here's the thing. First of all, the phone's not even owned by this young thug that killed all these people. The phone's owned by the government. Okay, not even his phone. We don't even have to go that far. But Tim Cook is looking to do a big number, probably to show how liberal he is. But Apple should give up. They should get the security. You'll find other people. When these two young people had bombs all over their apartment on the floor, other people saw those bombs. Well, those people, in a certain way, are almost as guilty as the ones that did the shooting. We got to get to the bottom of it. And you're not going to get to the bottom of it unless we use common sense. So I like the idea, boycott Apple until such time as they give that information. I think that's a great idea. Okay, yes.
Mr. Trump, with all the degrading circumstances going on in our nation, what will be the first issue that you will tackle once you are inaugurated?
Well, the things that are the easiest are these executive orders that Obama signed, because one good thing, the one really good thing is we can sign immediately, you can countersign, and you knock out the executive orders. I mean, he's got an executive order where people could just pour into the country. Now, the courts amazingly are stopping that right now, but at least temporarily. Who knows what's going to happen? But people are just literally pouring into the country. And I would get rid of that so fast. We end the court cases, just get rid of it so fast. And others, having to do with the Second Amendment, having to do with rules and regulations. He's at a point where he can't get anything passed, so he just signs executive orders. It wasn't supposed to be that way. So I would get rid of that very fast, okay? Sure.
Hi. Our seniors, I haven't heard many policies about how our seniors are suffering. We have to live on Social Security, which is very small.
You're not a senior.
My husband is,
Okay.
and I have to take care of him. So, yeah.
She didn't look like a senior.
Well, thank you. Anyway, we haven't received any type of raise. When you're president, do you intend to do about?
Well, first of all, you know the other candidates aren't talking about raises. They're talking about cutting your Social Security.
Exactly.
I'm the only one that's not cutting. I'm bringing the jobs back. I'm going to make our country rich again, and we're going to keep our Social Security. And you're not cutting the ages, and you're not cutting it down at all. Every other person but me is cutting entitlements and they cut the Social Security. So we're going to save Social Security. It's like I said, the medicine, $300 billion a year. That's one aspect. And it was given to me by a friend of mine who's a doctor. He couldn't understand why. As soon as he told me, I understood why. It's because of the guys that get all the contributions, all right, representing. You know, as an example, Woody Johnson, good guy, Johnson & Johnson. He's in charge of Bush's campaign finance committee. Now, when Bush goes, when Bush has less chance than, let's say, how many children in the room. But assuming he did win, do you think Bush is going to negotiate with the president? I mean, if you break the head of the pharmaceutical industry is the head of his campaign. So that's how the way it works. So we're going to make our country rich again. We're going to find all of these things. There's so many. That's one that I found in about 2 seconds. There's so many of them. The military has so many. We're going to make the military so strong, but we're going to make it better for less money. You know, you can build how? I just told you. Who said that? Oh, I just told you, darling. How? It's easy. Number one, and then you have to do this, you have to get the equipment that we want. You have to take care of people. You have to take care of our military. Because our military, and we don't want to use our military, honestly, we don't want to use our military. But we're being scoffed at right now. And we never fight to win. You know, when we were all younger, many of you are my age and many of you are younger, but when we were all younger, we didn't lose so much, right? We don't win anymore. As a country, we don't win. And we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. You're going to get tired of winning. You're going to say, please, Mr. President, I have a headache. Please, don't win so much. This is getting terrible. And I'm going to say, no, we have to make America great again. He's going to say, please. I said, don't win. Keep winning. We're going to make America great again. But by that time, I'll be able to take the again off. We're going to just have America be great, okay? So that's it. Go ahead, Al.
I am really angry at our congressmen and senators. And is there any way when you're president, you can get them to enact term limits and a balanced budget?
Well, we're going to look at that very much. I mean, we can balance the budget. You know that a balanced budget, I was talking to one politician, he wants to balance the budget over the next 25 years. You've heard that too, 25. But 25 years! We're going to get the balanced budget. And we're going to have a better country. And we're going to have, somebody would say, well, if you balance the budget, what are you going to get rid of? There's so much waste, fraud, and abuse, you're not going to get rid of anything. You can have a better country. We'll have better service. Spend less money, we'll have better service. We'll get it balance. You watch. Okay, well, you watch. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Before you become our president, what can be done about the younger people voting for Bernie that have no idea what socialism is?
I'll be honest, I don't like to speak badly about Bernie. I'll be honest. Because I sort of want him to win so badly. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. I'm torn. He's so easy to hit. And nobody hits him. And Hillary's afraid to hit him, and she's been brought very far left. And Hillary's got bigger problems, in my opinion, right? You ever see how nice she is to Obama? Oh, our president is so wonderful, he's so great. He said, you know why she's so nice, right? Yeah, I know why she's so nice. I know why she's so nice. I've never seen her like that. She panders to the president. She doesn't even like him. But she's pandering and everything. Oh, our president has done such a good job. One of the worst presidents in history. So, I hate to hit Bernie, though, because I'd much rather go against him. Now, I'd like to go against Hillary. I'm actually torn. I don't like almost saying bad things against either, because I sort of want to run against both. Is there any way I can run against both? Okay. So we'll see. But we're going to show you what's going to happen. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's not going to happen. Yeah, go ahead.
Where do you stand as far as abortion, and what would be your first?
I'm pro-life.
Yeah.
I'm pro-life. That's good. You made that? You're a little younger than some of the people in this place, right? We're going to have we have a tremendous young group of people that like us. I think in the end, more so than Bernie, we just gave a speech, 7,000, 8,000 people a little ways away. And I'll tell you, the people were so young, it was amazing. Thank you very much. It's very nice. Pro-life. Come on, back here. Yes, sir. Go ahead. With a beautiful yellow sweater and a nice pin. Thank you for the pin. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I can see.
Mr. Trump, last year in San Francisco, a beautiful young lady, innocent young lady, was killed by an illegal alien in a sanctuary city. What will you do about sanctuary cities and funding for sanctuary cities?
Do you notice that Obama never called Kate or the parents? Right? You ever think of that? Here's Kate, was killed by an illegal immigrant, came in 5 times at least, probably much more than that. Sanctuary city meaning protection. Basically, it's a protection of criminals. I'll end sanctuary. First of all, I'll defund sanctuary city. Very quickly. If you're an illegal immigrant, you go through the same scrutiny. You know, I have a friend, you know Jamil, who you've seen. He's incredible. In fact, we put him in a career. He lost his son, this magnificent son. He was going to go to college on a scholarship. He was shot in the face 3 times going home to his father.
Just walking down the sidewalk, great kid, like an incredible kid. The father's an incredible guy, like a friend of mine now. And what this guy's gone through is like incredible. And I will tell you, you look at what's going on, and you look at the kind of things that are going on with sanctuary cities and everything else. And one of the people, because I've gotten to know so many people who have had daughters and sons and brothers and wives and everything else killed, viciously, violently killed by illegal immigrants. And it's so sad to talk to them. And they tell me that the police go after them and the authorities go after them. When they find they're illegal immigrants, it stops. It's like they stop. They can't get involved because it's so hard to do anything against an illegal immigrant. They're rough and tough and smart, but when it comes to going after, and maybe the sheriff would know even why this is, but they complain that when they hear it's an illegal immigrant that killed somebody or did some really harm to somebody, it's like becomes a whole different subject, and they don't go after them the same way. You know, we're going to defund sanctuary cities. We're getting rid of sanctuary cities, and Kate was incredible, and horrible, and to many other people, not just Kate. Yes.
You keep telling us how you're going to surround yourself with great leaders. Can you give us a hint of who those might be?
Well, I'll tell you, in business, we have Carl Icahn endorsed me, who's a great businessman. So for trade, I don't want military people. For trade, I want our great business people. We have the greatest business people in the world. We don't use them. I told you before, we use political hacks. And for trade, 100%, we're going to use Carl Icahn. We're going to use all of these great business people. Many of them endorse me. All of them want to endorse me. In fact, some of them want to endorse me and they want to have a news conference. I said, nobody knows who you are. They might be worth $2 billion, but nobody knows who you are. But these are the greatest negotiators. We have the greatest negotiators in the world. We don't use them. When we lose $500 billion a year with China, $500 billion, it's more than that actually, but $500 billion a year with China, that won't happen with Carl Icahn in charge of a trade deal. That won't happen with other people who I won't use their names yet. But we have the greatest people in the world. They all want to help. They don't want money. They don't want to have like, oh, they're going to get $200,000 a year. They don't want that. They're very rich people in many cases, in just about all cases. That's why they negotiate well. But they're like chess masters. They're like grand masters. That's what we need negotiating. Because we are being taken to the cleaners on trade like you've never seen. Military, we're going to find the best military. In other words, we're going to find the best people in the different categories. Trade's the easiest one to think about. And, again, when I started, it started to be with trade and then at border, and the border was very important. I mentioned during the speech, boy, did I take heat, right? But then they found out I was right. However, the other day, one of the candidates, I saw him, we will build a wall. I said, where was this guy for the last 20 years? I said, my wife said, Caroline, did you hear he said he wants to build a wall? What a bunch of losers. We will build a wall. And then I heard a second one the other day say the same thing, we'll build a wall. But we're going to build a wall. The only thing is, we're going to build it. Mine's going to be real. They don't know how to build walls. I know how to build real walls. And they'll look very nice and very good. But there's a big difference in building. The other thing, there's no way they get Mexico to pay for it. I get Mexico to pay for it. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
As a single mother of a 10-year-old who is aspiring to be a veterinarian, what you mentioned that you were going to do something to help make college more affordable. What is it that you're going to do?
I'll tell you, it's a question I get so much, colleges. And what's happened with college is a shame, because these people that run the colleges are going through the roof. They don't care, because the kids are like a conduit for money from the federal government. So a kid goes and gets all the money he wants, or her, gets all the money, goes to the colleges. The colleges have totally lost control of their costs, and it's costing so much money, and they're spending so much money, and the salaries for the top people are astronomical, and they don't care because they're getting the money from the federal government. Unfortunately, the kids are the ones that are really a conduit. They have to pay for it. Does everyone understand that? Like, it's a really bad system. So the kids borrow more money, more and more money. The cost of colleges has gone up more than practically anything, far more than inflation, far more than any of your businesses. Because these guys figure, what the heck? I mean, we're getting all this money essentially from the government. And it's going to stop. We're going to find out. It's going to stop. But we've got to do something to help the kids, because some of these kids are choking with debt. And here's the problem. They get out of college and they can't get a job, because we don't have any jobs. Don't believe the 5% stuff. We don't have, it's not 5, it's 25%. And many people are part-time, you know, they're people that have worked for 30 years as full-time employees, all of a sudden are told by the same boss in the same factory that it's part-time. You know, Obama talks about the carbon footprint, right? The carbon footprint. He's always talking about the carbon footprint. And then he flies to Hawaii on a 747 with his family for Christmas. He's there forever. I mean, he plays more golf than people on the PGA Tour. But he then flies back, and then he has a news conference on the carbon footprint. I mean, give me a break. So, you know, but if you're president, we have a lot of work to be done. And playing golf is good, but you have to play with people that you have to make deals with. You play with Congress, right? You play with Congress. You play with different people that you have to play with people from other countries. You play with prime ministers. You don't play with your friends. You play with people, because golf is amazing. Golf, you develop relationships on a golf course that you practically can't do anywhere else. So it's great. You got to play with the people that are going to do good for the country. But I wouldn't be playing much. You know, you go to the White House. I want to make new trade deals. I want to make new military deals. I want to buy the best equipment for the military. I want to make sure that we have the right, everything right. There's so much to do. I wouldn't want to fly around and even all these meetings, you know, fundraisers. He gets on a 747. He spends $2 million or $5 million to fly to a location to raise $1 million. They spend $5 million, $5 million to go and go someplace, and he'll raise $1 million. Oh, we had a great fundraiser last night, but it cost $5 million. When you turn on the engines of a 747, let me tell you, we're talking big money. And then you have all of the Secret Service, who, by the way, are incredible people. They're all over the world. And all of the tremendous cost of the plane, the 747, which I guess they ordered a new one, but these are the big old engines. And you know, you spend all of these millions and millions of dollars, and you close down New York City. I mean, I have to go through it all the time. He's in for a fundraiser. You go in, I say, what's wrong? I don't even ask anymore. I say, the president's in town, the entire city is shut, right? You know what I'm talking about. The city is shut down. That's an attack. That's an attack. And then we're going to take our country back. And then we're going to have an amazing country again, and it's going to be run by really, really top-of-the-line people, and we're going to run it the way we have to run it, and you're going to be so proud. And I hope that in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're going to remember this meeting, and you're going to say, that was a great meeting, and that was the beginning of making America great again. So I want to thank you very much. I hope you can go out and vote tomorrow. I hope. I don't want your money, I want your vote. And I love you all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.